This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Don't chew on that, Max.
Cooper loves that chew too.
Oh, now he's into Cooper's food. Wow, he is loving it. What do you feed Cooper?
Blue Buffalo Life Protection Formula. He never leaves a crumb. I love it because it's made with high-quality protein, nutrient-rich fruits and veggies, and wholesome whole grains.
Looks like we're switching to Blue.
Blue Buffalo foods are made with the superior ingredients your dog needs to thrive. Can your dog food say that? Visit feedbluefood.com to learn more.
In coaching, the timing of your next opportunity isn't always ideal, and sometimes the right fit opens up later than expected. Today on The Next Move, presented by Coach Portal, we're talking about how to effectively pursue a new coaching role late in the hiring cycle and what you can do to stand out even when most staffs are already set. If you haven't already, sign up for your free 6-month trial at Coach Portal. Upload your resume, track your progress, and get seen by decision makers this next hiring season. Visit coach-portal.com, enter the code CCPodcast for your free 6-month trial, and make your next move. Joining me today to discuss moving late in the cycle is somebody who just went through that, and that's the offensive coordinator, offensive line coach at Gannon University, Erik Pratt. Erik, great to have you here on the podcast, and I'm excited to learn more about how you navigated moving late in the hiring cycle.
Coach, it's great to be here, and I'll tell you what, it's been a whirlwind experience for me since I've gotten here.
Tell us about that move, because it was, as I said, late in the cycle, something that obviously when we make these moves, it's not necessarily always about you. It's looking at what your family needs and those kinds of things as well, and I know that was a big part of the consideration for you.
I'm originally from Pennsylvania. Obviously, I was in a good situation at the University of North Carolina at Pembroke. They do a great job down there. Coach Hall and staff there are elite. They are phenomenal coaches. But when it came truthfully to it, I played in the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference. I'm familiar with the league. I'm from eastern part of the state, but coming back home to Pennsylvania, getting closer to family, instead of being 10 hours away, I'm now only 4 hours away. It's way easier for mom and dad to come watch me do what I do. They never missed a game when I played in college, so it's tougher as I get into coaching that I couldn't always make it on Saturdays, but being closer to home now, it's way easier for the people I care about the most to come see me. And obviously, as they get older, I want to be closer to them. And that was just more and more the deciding factor for me as it came to it. It's just checked too many boxes for me to say no to the opportunity.
So, Coach, what are some tips you have when faced with this situation? This isn't necessarily something that's rare, but I think there's a certain approach to it. So what tips would you offer to coaches facing this situation?
Really, my best advice is yearly, every single year at the end of the year, update your resume. Keep that thing up to date, whether it be statistically, all conference selections of your players, what you did that year, your different roles, because obviously at the Division II level, you wear a lot of different hats, whether it be strength and conditioning coordinator, recruiting coordinator, different things that I've had to do in my time at the Division II level. Obviously, that coming into your resume definitely helps. And second thing I could tell coaches the best way to do it is to stay connected with your network, guys you meet at different jobs. I send out a yearly text that ends up going to all my guys that I've worked with in the past, wishing them the best of luck. Staying in touch as the season goes along, just checking in on the guys you care about the most, because the people that are in your circle are the guys that are going to speak up for you when time comes to crunch. The next best thing I can say is the timing isn't always perfect. Obviously, taking the job in the beginning of July, being the offensive coordinator, offensive line coach, it's a lot of different things you have to come in and do and prepare to do. Communication with the coaching staff, that's pretty much already in place. I came in here as the OCO line coach, new to the program, new to the team, meeting the players. So it's just really staying flexible, being able to adapt on the fly as you continue to go, because the path that is always you go isn't always the smoothest. It's never a straight line, that's for sure. A lot of bends and curves in that road. So you got to be willing to be able to move with the punches and continue to adapt as things come your way, but also knowing your value, knowing what you can bring to the coaching staff, be it your expertise in a certain field, what you've done at other places that you can have ideas for the place you're coming to. And honestly, the best advice I can give anybody is to just be honest with yourself, be honest with the coaches that you already work with. Obviously, leaving a place is actually the hardest you can possibly do. Like I said, I was in a great situation with my players, with the coaches I worked with at UNC Pembroke. And it was just one of those conversations I had to have with other coaches, being in the sense of, at the end of the day, this is the right move for me. It feels selfish being an offensive line coach, being a former offensive lineman. You kind of feel like you're the team player. You always do what's right for the team. So it's really hard for you and for me specifically to be the guy that has to walk away from what I know is a good situation and the guys I care about the most, because I truly am invested in my players. I'm truly invested in the guys I care about. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, to say, hey, I'm not going to be here for the season that starts in a month. Shout out to my guys at Pembroke. They all understood. My players all contacted me and said, we wish you the best of luck. And they understand why I did it, because I think that's all it's all about, is the relationships you build with the players, the relationships you build with other coaches, that truly impacts a lot of the decisions that you make. And honestly, at the end of the day, you got to sometimes take a leap of faith and bet on yourself and say that this is what you can do. And you know that you're ready for the job. Obviously, the promotion to offensive coordinator was something that I was looking for. And that's what it really came down to, was this is the time for me to take a shot and say that this is what I need to do for the best and the betterment of myself.
In talking to you, you certainly had some trepidation and sitting down with your former head coach and telling him, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing, or this is what I'm thinking about. What advice do you have with that? Or what did you learn from that situation, I guess, that you could share with other coaches about having to deal with something like that?
I would say probably the best way you can go about it is just be honest. Just be honest and upfront. When I first approached this opportunity, the first thing I actually did was go into my head coach's office and say, hey, just letting you know, this is what I did. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to try to go after this. Obviously, it was a difficult conversation. You never want to really tell your head coach that, hey, specifically, you're an offensive line coach going into the July 1st timeline and saying, hey, a month from now, I might not be here. That's never something that a head coach would want to hear. I'm sure of it. Being that I have such a good relationship with my head coach, Coach Hall down there at Pembroke, we sat down and had multiple conversations about this opportunity. And I'm forever grateful to that guy, being that he gave me my first full-time job. And I've worked with him at 2 different schools over 3 years, and we had a very tight relationship. The one thing I will always give Coach Hall a lot of credit for is he sat me down and during our last conversation said, Coach Pratt, this is too good of an opportunity for you to pass up. It checks too many boxes for you to say no. And I'm forever grateful for that man to say, hey, you got to do this. This is something you have to do. And, it shocked me at first. Truthfully, it really did. But at the end of the day, I knew he was right. He's a man I trust. And I truly am grateful for him for everything he's done for me throughout all the time that we've been together. And this is probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And it's just one of those things that it just makes too much sense for me to say no to the opportunity. And I'm grateful that he was humble enough to let me go and say, hey, you need to do what's right for you and your career as well.
For a coach who's made that kind of move or who might face that situation, we usually have months, plural, to get into a situation, to get settled in, to learn everything about the culture, the players, all those kinds of things. What advice do you have for somebody who's got to hit the ground running when it's a month that you have to deal with something like that?
The best way I can do it is be present. Always be where your feet are. Know that this is where you are supposed to be. Dive straight in. Reach out to all the players you can. Players reached out to me. I reached out to them. The coaches that were here, obviously, all were in touch with me. And my main thing was, what do you need? What do you need from me? And I was in the same sense of being flexible with all the other things that I entailed, moving and doing all the different things. It's just continually trying to be adaptive, be ready to go, because things can change on a dime. And diving headfirst into learning the culture, learning the expectations, what my other roles will be, all those different things. At the Division II level, like I said, you wear a ton of different hats and you do a lot of different things. And it's just consistently being present and just a lot of late nights studying different things, studying the culture, studying film, personnel, what you want to do, what your plans are. And it's just continually diving in head first. I mean, you have to self-immerse yourself into this, because if you don't, you're going to be stuck out there sometimes. When something comes up that you're not ready for, You just got to be able to adapt and swing on it and say, hey, this is what we got to do.
Coach, I appreciate you sharing your story and the things that you've learned from it, and just want to wish you the best of luck here in your new position.
Coach, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for the time.
In coaching, timing isn't always in your control, but preparation and approach always are. To help your next move stand out, make sure your profile and experience are visible to hiring staffs. Sign up today at Coach Portal for your free 6-month trial and connect with the right people. Visit coach-portal.com, enter the code CCPodcast, and make your next move.